Good morning, world historians. It's Dr. Smith here, welcoming you to Module 5 this week. We're going to be talking about the Cold War and decolonization from 1945 till 1991. That's the end of World War II, all the way up until the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991. And preceding the fall of the Soviet Union in 1989, which I can remember watching on television when I was 12 years old, if you want to figure out how old I am, was the fall of the Berlin Wall, which was the physical symbol representation of Soviet power, of course, during the Cold War era. So I just want to start off today with a little quotation by an American political philosopher and historian who's still around, a guy called Francis Fukuyama. Writing in 1989, this is towards the end of the Cold War, watching the fall of the Berlin Wall, which we're going to watch some video footage of this week. And Fukuyama wrote this remarkable essay, which was called The End of History. Now, if 1989 had been the end of history, it would have made my job a lot easier because we wouldn't have had to go up to the present. But what Fukuyama actually meant was not that the history itself was coming to an end, but that the processes of human history, particularly the process of ideological struggle and evolution that had marked modern human history from the beginnings to the present, were coming to an end with American triumph in the Cold War. So we'll think about that a little bit, but I want to start off with this quote. And remember, this is Fukuyama writing from the United States perspective in 1989, watching the Cold War come to an end. What we quote, what we may be witnessing is not just the end of the Cold War or the passing of a particular period of post-war history, but the end of history as such. That is the end point of mankind's ideological evolution and the universalization of Western liberal democracy as the final form of human government. End quote. Now, just think of all the things that have happened in the world since 1989. COVID, the events of September the 11th, 2001, the rise or the continuing rise of China, Beijing as a power in the world today. And I think you can see that this quotation really is a monument to how wrong even the most educated people can get in their take on the world as events are unfurling. So this is 1989, of course, not the end of history, not the end of the world as we know it, but the beginning of a new chapter of world history that we will explore in our final module next week. So this week we're going to be talking about the Cold War. We're all familiar, of course, with the Cold War. You've probably seen movies like, The Hunt for Red October, great movie with Sean Connery, or, of course, the James Bond movie series. But how many of us have actually considered the Cold War from its global perspective? So today we're going to be looking at, or this week, the Cold War as a chapter of history from a global perspective that explores how the decline of European empires, particularly the British and the French, feeds into directly into the growing divisions in the world between the Soviet Union and the United States. Now, this was not just a power struggle between two global powers or two global superpowers, as they were sometimes called at the time, but it's also an ideological battleground, if you like, between two ways of looking at the world: the liberal democracy model that was hailed by Francis Fukuyama in 1989, and of course the Soviet Marxist model that goes all the way back to 1917, Vladimir Lenin and the Russian Revolution. So this week we have discussion forum. We're going to ask if the world today, in particular the United States, is in a new Cold War. If learning about the first Cold War, the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union, helps to shed light on the position of America in the world today and the rise of China and other global powers and the challenges to global order that scenario places, do we actually gain more from looking at the first Cold War than we might otherwise learn from just reading the news headlines? So that's going to be the topic of our discussion forum. There's also a short writing, about 600 words, due at the end of this week, which is entitled 5 Objects That Define the Times. And we're going to be looking at the website 100 Objects That Shape the World. And for this assignment, it's a nice, easy assignment. You're going to choose 5 objects, 5 artifacts that have been curated by the director of the British Museum, Neil McGregor, and look at those objects on this digital exhibition, and just write about why you chose 5 objects, what connected those objects, how they explain any particular theme that you choose to write about in world history. And then finally, also due at the end of this week, I have extended the deadline to the end of this week for the comparative review essay. That's where you're going to be choosing 2 scholarly sources on a theme of your choice in world history, 1500 to the present. That was due on July 30th, but that deadline is now extended through the end of this week to August the 4th. I will be emailing you separately about that assignment, but if you have any questions in the meantime, please email me, smith.mdc@miamioh.edu. Hang in there. I know there's a lot more deadlines rolling in at the end of the 6-week semester, but you're doing great, so appreciate your effort, and enjoy the week. Have a great summer, everyone, and talk soon. Bye.